Okay, everybody, we are live.
Okay, good evening. This is Kirby Wells, and this is the Planning Commission meeting for April 16th, 2020. I'm the chairman of the Planning Commission, and I'd like to make clear for the record of this meeting that it should be reflected in the minutes that this Planning Commission meeting of April 16th, 2020 will be conducted pursuant to Governor Newsom's Executive Order N2920. The meeting will be held via teleconference, and Planning Commission members will participate via teleconference. Those locations are not listed in the agenda and are not accessible to the public. And if we could I have everybody, if you're not currently going to speak, could you hit your mute button so we can eliminate kind of the background noise? Thank you. The public is encouraged to listen to the City Council meeting live on Woodland TV Channel 20, and also by going to the City of Woodland website at www.cityofwoodland.org/meeting. If you'd like to make a specific comment during general public comment or on a specific agenda item, there are several ways to do that. A, live call-in during the meeting to phone number 530-661-5935. Calling the number 530-661-5935 will put the caller into a queue. The queue can handle 20 plus callers at one time. The IT staff will answer the call from the queue to get information, asking what item the caller would like to talk about, and then put them back into the queue. During public comment, IT staff will transfer the call to a computer that will allow the caller to communicate with the commissioners. Callers will be placed on an open mic one at a time. The number again, 530-661-5935. You may note this is the first time that we're attempting to run a meeting in this method, and there may be some time delays. So please be patient with us as we attempt to include all those who wish to offer public comment on the issues on our agenda. Second, members of the public were invited to leave a voicemail, and that those will be played by staff and limited to the 3-minute time frame. Tips for, let's see, for all PC, we've already got that. As a courtesy, again, mute your audio if you're not actively speaking. Wait till the other party is done speaking before any questions or what have you go on. Okay. All voice mail messages received by 6:30 today will be played during the Planning Commission meeting and read into the record at the appropriate time. In addition, any member of the public watching the live stream who wishes to make a comment on an item as it is being heard may submit an email to the following email address. That email address is Planning Commission Meetings, no spaces, at cityofwoodland.org prior to our public comment on that item. All comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes. This includes email comments submitted to be read into the record. The email shall be read for no more than 3 minutes. And that means for longer emails, we may not be able to read the full content within 3 minutes. For the email, please include the agenda item in the subject line. Okay. At this point, I'd like to ask Cindy as Commission Secretary, to conduct roll call. Each member must identify themselves verbally during roll call. Cindy?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Wells. So I will read off each name, and if you could indicate that you are here. Commissioner Harris?
Here.
Commissioner Holt?
Present.
Commissioner Hurst?
Present.
Commissioner Lizarraga?
Here, present.
Commissioner Lopez,
Present.
Chairperson Wells,
Present.
and Commissioner Wong.
Present.
I'd like to note that we have a full quorum.
Excellent. Thank you, Cindy. Okay, so I'd now like to ask each member of the commission to respond to these questions. And this question, and I'll ask each one of you individually, can you hear me well? Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Holt?
Yes, Chair.
Commissioner Hurst?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Lizarraga?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
And Commissioner Wong?
Yes.
And I can hear all of you very well. Thank you. Does each member of the commission have a copy of the agenda for this meeting? Again, you'll notice that the agenda is visible on the screen. Again, please respond individually. Harris?
Yes.
Holt?
Yes, sir.
Hurst?
Yes.
Lizarraga?
Yes.
Lopez?
Visible on the screen.
And Wong?
Visible on the screen and copy.
Excellent, thank you. Commission Secretary, have you posted the agenda at a location reasonably accessible to the public?
Yes.
Thank you, Cindy. The record should reflect that 7 commission members are present for the teleconference and have indicated they're able to hear the proceedings. At this time, I'm requesting that other city officials introduce themselves and their positions so that the record can reflect their attendance.
Thank you. Cindy Norris, Principal Planner.
Megan Meyer, Associate Planner.
And Chairman Wells, I'd like to acknowledge that we do have additional staff who are listening in and assisting with our meeting tonight. We have Ana Gonzalez, City Clerk, and Jay Kimura, who's with our technical IT staff and is helping run this show. I want to thank both of them very much for helping us, especially Jay Kimura for making this meeting possible.
Thank you, Cindy. Commission members, as we go through the agenda, I request that before speaking, you clearly identify yourself each time. I know that is a little onerous, but it will help with our verbal record. For example, this is Commissioner Holt, etc. Members, please ask the individual to speak and do not interrupt. I would also ask to the greatest extent possible, everybody mute their phones or other devices when not actively speaking, so that we don't get into unnecessary background noise. I would now like to advise all commission members and the commission secretary that any votes taken during this teleconference portion of the meeting must be taken by roll call. I will ask the commission secretary to take that roll call for any and all votes. And so now at this time, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And for that, I'll have everybody just mute your screens except for Commissioner Harris. And Commissioner Harris, if you'd lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I would appreciate it.
Follow me. Should we stand? It's traditional. Or are we going to stay down?
I think we can stay down for now. I think this is a little bit exception.
Okay. Please follow me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one republic under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Steve. Okay. Any public comment on any items that are not currently on the agenda before the Planning Commission tonight?
Chairman Wells, I do not have any voicemails or emails that are identified as being specifically for public comment.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Do we have any member of the commission or staff? And so let's start with the commission. Any comments or anything that anybody from the commission needs to make for comments? Okay, hearing none. Any comments that we have for any subcommittees? Chris, any comments, anything you need to bring to us?
After our last meeting, I did meet with the planning staff to discuss update to the hotel project, the Main Street Hotel project. I note that there is removal of the one-story parking garage. However, other parking arrangements have been made. They are working with the city to offset the parking that was lost in that parking garage issue. Other than that, it remains relatively similar to the document that we approved. So that is just my my report out of that item. No other subcommittee reports.
Good, Chris, thank you. Steve, any subcommittee reports on the cannabis subcommittee? Okay.
No reports at this time.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Cindy, any communications from the public for anything other than what we're working on tonight?
I have not received any separate communications from the public.
Okay. And then do we have a minutes that we need to approve from the last meeting?
I do not believe that we have minutes on this agenda.
Okay, okay. Excellent. Okay, so then the now on the agenda that I see on the that I just printed out, the do we have the long range calendar, or did you move that to the next meeting?
I do have, I can speak to the long range calendar. We do
Okay.
have that item.
Okay.
And just a note to the commissioners that we do have items scheduled for both of the planning commission meetings in May. There is a meeting, it's always the first and third Thursday, so May 7th and May 21st. We will be providing further information regarding those meetings as we get closer, but just so you note for your calendar that we do have 2 items.
Okay. Any questions or comments from commissioners? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to our next item, which is public hearing, and the subject is the AT&T cell tower conditional use permit. And so I'm assuming Megan is going to lead us off on that.
Thank you, Commissioners. Megan Meyer, Associate Planner.
Hi, Megan.
The project before you this evening is a request by Epic Wireless on behalf of AT&T to allow the construction and operation of a 75-foot tall stealth communication cellular tower in the shape of a water tower, and the installation of related ground equipment on an approximately 1,200 square foot leased enclosure area. The project is located at 231 West Main Street between Ashley Avenue and Cottonwood Street. Project site is zoned corridor mixed use, West Main. Here you can see an aerial view of the site. An auto parts store to the surrounding uses include YOLO Federal Credit Union and offices to the north, offices and an auto parts store to the east, residential condominiums to the south, and a veterinary hospital to the west. A number of other sites were looked at by Epic Wireless for the possible cell tower location. The sites were rated in terms of providing the most optimal service coverage, and the sites that were not pursued had several different reasons for elimination. ranging from being too close to sensitive sites or did not meet the city's setback requirements, or the property owners were not interested in pursuing the contract. Here you can see the other sites that were looked at, notated in yellow, and the site that was chosen is notated in green. Here we have the propagation coverage map provided by AT&T, where you can see the current and future anticipated coverage areas as a result of the new facility. The green color represents reliable service coverage, the yellow is marginal coverage, and the blue-purple indicates unreliable coverage. The first map, you can see very limited reliable service coverage, while the second map depicts a vastly improved coverage area, again represented by the green and yellow. The anticipated estimated service coverage increase and service area is 1.5 square miles or 4.5 miles per perimeter. I wanted to go over key items in the city's wireless telecommunication facilities ordinance to provide an overview of prohibited locations for cell tower location and required setbacks for sensitive land uses. I provided an excerpt of the ordinance that relates to comments or questions that the project has had and being considered tonight. Please note that section 17.104.180 wireless telecommunications facilities, the city zoning code, prohibits locations to be located in habitat areas under provision 1A. This located area is not within a designated habitat area per the land use for under the general plan. Notate under 1B that the location cannot be within 1,000 feet of any other existing monopole or lattice tower. The applicant has provided that information and it is not within 100 feet of another facility. Under 1C, telecommunication facilities cannot combine electromagnetic frequency radiation that exceeds the state or federal standards. The applicant has provided studies showing that it meets all federal and state regulatory limits. And item D, telecommunication facilities within urban reserve areas are restricted, and they must, if they are within 500 feet of area designated or zoned such, they must go to Planning Commission, which we are here tonight. And exceptions are as follows, which this cell tower falls under. Areas zoned commercial are subject to conditional use permit review procedures and determination that all aspects of the proposed facility, including support facilities, are completely concealed and designed in a manner that is not identifiable as a wireless facility by a casual observer, and are stealthed in a way that view remains at least 100 feet from areas zoned or designated on the general plan land use map for residential uses or on sites containing existing or planned public or private school facilities. Looking now at the proximity map in relation to the regulations that we just went through, proximity map shows the location of 2 sensitive sites within the area surrounding the proposed location. That a church and school site is located to the southeast of the site at a little over 200 feet away and meets the 100-foot setback requirement outlined by our city regulations. Also, you will see residential to the south of the site, and this also meets the 100-foot setback requirement. Moving now to the layout of the telecommunications facility enclosure. Proposed facility will include a 15-foot wide access utility easement from Main Street to the telecommunications facility equipment compound. The facility is set back from the street on the east side of the property and set back approximately 80 feet from West Main Street, 5 feet from the east property line, and 100 feet from the rear property line. The facility is 20 by 60 feet, and it contains ground-mounted equipment, including an emergency generator that shall be located on the west side of the compound within the lease area, and will be screened from surrounding uses by decorative gate and capped CMU wall as a condition of the project approval. Other improvements as conditioned include landscape at the front of the property and along the east property line for added screening. The site currently has gravel surface and will be paved. And additionally, the location is on septic service and will be abandoned to connect to city services. The proposed tower is 75 feet tall and will be located just south of the ground-mounted equipment within the leased space. Staff worked with the applicant to match other cell towers in the community in terms of the height and brought the tower down from the 87 feet proposal at the beginning to now a 75-foot high tower with a reduction of 12 feet, bringing it in line with other similar facilities within the city already. Should be noted that 9 antennas will be mounted on the tower, but additional antennas can be mounted. All antennas will be located within the faux water tank and will not be visible from the outside. Any additional antennas at a later point have to meet FCC regulations and parameters. The tower will be built to provide co-location opportunities for at least one additional carrier. The wireless telecommunication facility will follow all federal FCC standards for EME exposure limits. Here you can see standards for noise requirements listed in the table. City requirements are listed on the right-hand side at 65 dBA. This is for the generator in the facility. And noise projection at no load is at between 63 and 47 dBA. And noise projection at full load ranges from 48 to 64 dBA. These are within the city noise standards of 65 dBA. The generator has been identified and as a diesel fueled generator, and the generator has specified with the manufacturer's level 2 acoustic enclosure, which is the highest enclosure. The generator will run at full load during power outages and under no load for 15 minutes once a week for routine maintenance on weekdays during normal business hours between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Here are photo simulations provided by the applicant, and this shows the north elevation visible from West Main Street. Please note that this tower is showing a photo simulation with the 87-foot tower originally proposed. They have reduced it by 12 feet. This is looking north from Lincoln, and you can see the water tower is visible just over condominiums on Lincoln. Additionally, this will be reduced by 12 feet. This is the view from Ashley. The existing and the proposed. And this is the existing and proposed driving west on Main Street. Again, additionally, this will be reduced by 12 feet. You also may have noticed that a similar tower, a new stealth water tower telecommunications facility, is located southwest of the intersection at Road 102 and West Main Street. As with this cell tower, staff will work with the applicant on artwork for the outside of the proposed water tower. Would like to show that 3 different ways of public notification were done for this project. Notices were mailed out to all properties owners within 300 feet of the project site, at least 10 days or more prior to the public hearing. Additionally, an amended notice with more information on public commenting and how the meeting would take place was provided to the property owners, again, in the surrounding 300 feet. Also, 2 legal notices were published in the Woodland Daily Democrat, and the information was posted at City Hall and on the city website. This project was looked at through CEQA and HCP for environmental analysis. It was found that it met the qualifications for CEQA for an infill project under Class 32 infill development. Additionally, it is meeting all HCP requirements and does have a pre-construction survey to assess any habitat and nesting during a nesting period. We did receive a number of comments from the public, and I wanted to just have a quick Q&A on some of them that were reoccurring. One of the questions that did come up was, why has the size changed, and can we use small cell technology to address the coverage gaps? As some have know, small cell technology is not comparable to these larger towers. It often is used in conjunction with the large towers to fill small areas in coverage. And with the reduced height, AT&T lost some of the coverage that they were looking for, but working with their engineers, they felt that a substantial portion of the gap was met. The next question that came up often is, how many arrays will this tower have, and does the RF report account for additional arrays? And the tower does have 9, but under federal regulations, they can have additional array antennas, as long as they meet the outlined requirements for FCC EME exposure thresholds, which this project does. Additionally, does the proposed cell tower meet the setback requirements from sensitive sites? Yes, it meets all setback requirements as designed from both the school, church school location and the residential. Additionally, I would like to point out just some of the regulation or some of the purview that Planning Commission has over this project compared to federal and state purview. Federal and state telecommunications acts does limit local control of denying a project based on environmental effects of frequency emissions. And it also prohibits denial of the project based on significant service, or based on denying the project if it meets certain service gap requirements by the network. Planning Commission does have purview over scale, location, and anything having to do our telecommunications zoning ordinance. With that, staff recommends approval of the proposed 75-foot tall stealth telecommunications cellular tower in the shape of a water tank and the installation of related ground equipment on 1,200 square foot leased area at 231 West Main Street.
Thank you, Megan. This is Kirby Wells. And at this point, I'm going to open a public hearing on this item. And just remind everybody, if you haven't muted your microphone so we don't get backbeat, that would be good. The way that we're going to do this is I'm going to do it in a two-step process. So first, I'm going to go down the list of our commissioners and ask them if they have any questions for staff or any comments. After that, we will open it to the public, and I'll have staff give us whether there's voicemail, email, or a live call-in. And again, all of those comments will be limited to 3 minutes each. So I'd appreciate everybody looking to that. Also, if you're doing this on the coming in via computer, you will see a 3-minute timer that our IT team will be managing for us. So with that, I'm going to start down and we'll just go alphabetically. Commissioner Harris, any comments or questions?
No comment and no questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Commissioner Holt?
Yes, sir. I have 3 questions for staff, if they could answer them. I had 4, but Megan took care of one of them. So good job, Megan. My first question is, has the applicant, either Epic Wireless or AT&T, considered any alternate methods of power backup? I know diesel generators are currently still the most reliable method of backup power, but I'd like to know if out there in this realm, if they're starting to talk about battery backups and or solar arrays to charge those battery backups to try and limit kind of the greenhouse gas effect that we have with our telecommunications center.
I haven't specifically, this is Megan Meyer, Associate Planner. I have not specifically talked to the applicant about those possible alternatives. I will let the applicant, when they come at the very end, address that issue.
Very well. My second question, can you speak to the public art process? I did read in some of the comments that Yellow Arts is potentially partnering with the city to help bring in or source the artwork that will eventually go on it. Are we applying all of the in lieu fees to this one site that are collected for this one site? And then secondly, is there a plan identified for a public call for artists?
Hi again, this is Megan responding. We have indicated that if it is part of the in lieu fee, and if it is less expensive than what they needed to pay under the in lieu fee, then they will provide us the difference. And they will work with the city staff, with the artists from the group indicated, to find a suitable graphic that relates to the city. I think the food front one on the other one was done similarly, and working with economic development will have the similar process.
Okay, and just to follow up to that, I'm not sure if the other cell tower was a full public call for artists. So I just asked to get an update on that as we move forward. My third question, and I apologize for the dogs in the neighborhood, they're very loud. The entire parcel is currently on a septic system, and will the entire parcel be brought on to city services through this project?
Yes, it will be. It'll connect to city sewer.
So the existing structure that's on site will also be connected to city sewer through this project?
Yes, it will be fully brought up to current code.
Very well, thank you. That concludes all of my questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Holt, thank you. Commissioner Hurst, Valerie, any questions?
Yeah, I have a few short ones. One is to ensure that the generator isn't running during worship hours and during the night.
Hi, this is Megan again to answer your comments. Um, it actually is quite a ways from the church location, and those noise statistics that were provided are actually to the property line. So it will, because the church location is substantially further, almost the actual physical church is almost 300 feet away. It'll be substantially less than that. They also didn't account for the CMU wall around the facility. So those are noise numbers that are even higher than counting for the CMU buffering that will also aid in the noise reduction.
Okay. My second question is how many other carriers in the future could be using the cell tower? I know it was said that there's a possibility of multiple utilizing the specific cell tower, but maybe we're trying to limit the amount of cell towers in the interior of Woodland anyways. So do you have a number that's possible?
I don't have a specific number, and maybe the applicant can speak to that as well. As you mentioned, the city does encourage multiple users on one tower, so we get basically more bang for our buck. But as technology improves and the antenna arrays get smaller and smaller, there is the potential for more carriers on the project.
Okay, and I just want a clarification as to, I've seen maps of cell towers in Woodland in this region. It seems like most of the rest of the cell towers are located actually along highway corridors, just like the other one that we have. Um, can you clarify why this tower has to be in the interior of Woodland, and why we couldn't use a larger tower on the outskirts of town? I understand that it's from what I can see on maps, um, it's creating coverage for a radius in the interior of Woodland, but is there an alternative theoretically?
So with my discussions with the applicant, it's a very specific area that's being targeted and does require a tower somewhere in that area, as they've shown from the proximity map of other locations that they looked at. And apparently one at the periphery of town would not cover this area. I should note that there are a number of other towers that people might not be aware of in the city limits. Quite a few of them actually are on athletic fields and adjacent to schools in athletic fields. So there are quite a few. They're just co-located.
And I just have a final question. I think this is probably going to be the best one for the applicant, but maybe you can answer it. Is that usually actually cell towers projecting 5G are typically using even like the older waveforms. It's not like some sort of new waveform. Is that what they're going to be doing? The frequencies is just using the same frequencies of 4G that they were going to be using from for the 5G?
I'll let the applicant speak to that a little bit, but I know that all the cell companies are looking to move to 5G. And even the existing towers in town will probably be moving in that direction as well.
Okay, I'll let the applicant do it. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. Vice Chair Lizarraga, any questions or comments?
The only thing I was curious about is what Commissioner Valerie just mentioned, and that would have been, are these going to be 5G? Is this what they're doing, or are they still putting up 4G?
Okay, so maybe we can, when we have the applicant respond to us, we've got a couple of questions that we probably specified to them. Anything else, Marco?
No, that's, the other curiosity I had was how many carriers are they serving with this antenna now? How many are they going to be serving now? And then, of course, the same question that Valerie had, how many will they serve in the future?
Okay, well, I'll give you time to ask that to the applicant directly and they can address that for us.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lopez, Mr. Fred.
Yeah, the only concern that I have that the applicant can probably answer is the signal strength of the RF signal. I know that the city has, I think you said 100-foot range that you're trying to stay within. But I'm not sure how much those signals diminish at that height or what their effect will be beyond that limited 100-foot radius that you have on there.
Okay.
That's my only concern.
Okay, we'll make sure keep all the commissioners keep your questions, and when the applicant is available, we'll just go down one by one and get those answered. Commissioner Wong, Mr. Steve.
No, like I said, I just had two comments. First one is that I know based on the comments, and I've seen some stuff on Facebook, that there's a fair amount of anxiety. So I'm wondering if and I noticed that Commissioner Lopez said that looking at a 100 feet setback, and it does meet it, but I noticed that it's pretty darn close. 101 foot setback is pretty darn close. So I'm wondering, and we can't do a thing with a frequency thing like the FCC said, but to alleviate those concerns a little bit, could we move the tower back further so that they'd be further away from those areas? The other question I had was one of the comments had two different coverage maps. So maybe the applicant can address that issue too. And that's all the comments I have.
Steve, thank you. Okay, for myself, a couple things. One is a comment. I think that just from the amount of feedback that we've gotten from the public on this, I would think it would be prudent for us to go through our process of public hearing during the meeting tonight. And, with the commission's approval, I think I'd like to see if we could leave this open to our next meeting so that people could get this underneath get this kind of their feet underneath it a little bit more. And we could come back at our next meeting and have more answers to questions and possibly some direction for staff. So I would like to leave that option open to the commission to decide at the end of the public hearing. The items that I would like to have staff perhaps answer, and I know Megan, we've talked about this, but I would also like to consider if there's been any other alternative design plans other than just the water tower, and if they would be open to any of those that maybe we could look at over the time period if we do extend the meeting. And then finally, I know that in our previous tower situation on a tower that we did out off of 102, if my memory is correct, an issue came up about the art responsibility. And I know that we ended up, I believe, doing art. The city of Woodland did the art. In this case, is the applicant, with their in lieu fee, will they both pay for the art and will then be responsible for that art going forward? In other words, if it's damaged or we have some kind of graphics sprayed on it, will they keep that up, or is that going to be our responsibility? Megan?
Hi, thank you for the question. As of now, it is written as a condition that they work with the city to install the art and the proposed and get to a point of approving the proposed art. I think that the previous tower, I don't think that there was a part of the condition that said ongoing maintenance, but there is ongoing maintenance of the tower itself. So we could look at adding that.
Okay. That's the end of my question. So at this point, I would like to ask the applicant to identify himself, and then I will go through our list of commissioners and get any questions answered. But to begin with, I'd like the applicant, if they would like to speak first, and give them 3 minutes to provide an opening statement.
Hi, this is Jared Kirschley with Epic Wireless on behalf of AT&T. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can. Hi, Jared.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having us here tonight. I will kind of run down the questions that the commissioners had thus far that need assistance from the applicant. Is that appropriate at this moment, or do you have another avenue currently?
No, I think that'd be great if you can go through, and then once you're finished with that, again, if you've got an opening statement that you want to use 3 minutes, and then go through and answer the questions, and then I'll run down our list of commissioners, and if they have any additional questions, we'll get those answered. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. So as explained very well by Megan, this tower is considered filling a coverage gap and being installed for capacity reasons. There is currently a tower approximately 1.5 miles to the southwest, and another tower approximately 1 mile, 1.5 miles to the east on Lincoln Ave and 2nd Street, I believe it is. This tower is filling a gap, a main coverage gap in those between those two towers, which is kind of answering a question from one of the commissioners about why not placing it by a corridor or another area. This tower has been strategically placed to precisely fill that gap in coverage, of course, while trying to maintain the least intrusive means possible, i.e. a water tower. The tower was shrunk by 12 feet to alleviate some of the visual concerns and kind of coordinate with the other towers in the area and the height standards as well. So backup generators, diesel, as it was said, is the most reliable fuel source. The other one would be propane tank. Diesel is generally a little safer, if you will. Solar isn't really an option. We do solar at times when power is not necessarily available. This tower would take up, solar for this tower would take up essentially the whole parcel in a sense to ensure that it stays on air if there's a power outage long term. Solar just isn't really a viable option, unfortunately. And of course, the generator that is under the city's noise ordinance, as Megan said. In terms of other carriers, the elevations show placeholders for 2 additional carriers on the tower. It could anywhere between 1 and 3 total carriers would fit in this tower if the technology was small enough. It's possible for a 4th, but most likely not. This is a 4G LTE tower. It's not a 5G tower. 5G is essentially micro cells that get placed on utility poles, light poles around more dense urbanized areas. Small cells don't accommodate all the technologies that macro cells can accommodate. For example, FirstNet is a technology that AT&T has on all of their macro towers, this is a macro tower, and that's a very important service to this tower for the community and first responders. I think there was a question to help explain the RF, how it's emitted off the tower with 100 feet away, for example, 100 feet away from the tower. Basically, the EME exposure report shows that at the next door adjacent building, the percent of exposure is 2.5 of the FCC threshold. So it's basically 2.5% out of 100% within the allowable threshold of the FCC's emission standards. Basically, antennas don't point downward; they point out into the horizon, and the power is it drops considerably every 10 feet, 20 feet, and so on and so forth. So by the time you're even 20 feet, 30 feet away, or hundreds of feet away, the power is so much diminished that that's the reason why the percent is so low, in addition to the fact that the towers don't point downward. When I say that, I mean they do have a very, very small point tilt downward, but you're talking maybe a degree or so. But generally speaking, they just go out into the horizon. I didn't really catch the question on the 2 different coverage maps, but if they can be pulled up, then I'd be happy to elaborate on them if there are questions. But before that, I would like to invite Alice Perez to speak on behalf of the FirstNet services, if that's permissible at this time.
That'd be fine. Again, we'll limit that to 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Alice Perez. I work for AT&T External Affairs, and Yolo County is one of the counties that I cover in addition to 11 additional counties. I also serve on a statewide basis, External Affairs for Public Safety and Disaster Coordination. So I work directly with Cal OES in addition to your local emergency services 911 groups. One of the benefits that this particular tower is going to bring, one, obviously, is capacity. At this time, AT&T is considered, our service is considered an essential service to the community, being essential in the context that it allows us to have these types of conversations by allowing people within that area that's going to be covered to be able to utilize their cell phones and Wi-Fi services to access internet, as well as to utilize their cell phones in that area. Otherwise, they could have a weak coverage. It's also a FirstNet, going to be a FirstNet site, which is a public safety site, which means that in the event there is a disaster or a public safety issue, FirstNet has preempt. So Yolo County E911 is part of our FirstNet customers in addition to the tribal areas. That's also one of our customers. Anyone that utilizes that network in the event of a public safety disaster, they will preempt others. And so that's an additional benefit to the county, to the city as well, as far as having that. Now, I've had conversations previously with the Assemblywoman as well as with several of your city council members as to the importance of making sure that we're providing coverage to all areas, within Woodland, to make sure that people have access, particularly from a public safety perspective, and that's exactly what this tower is looking to do. Additionally, I do want to emphasize the fact that the generator is running on electricity the tower runs on electricity day to day. The only time the generator kicks in is as backup. So the generator does not run 24/7. It's only utilized as a backup. So understanding that this is going to serve capacity, increase capacity in the area, giving more people access to these services, as well as being a FirstNet public safety site, I would encourage you this evening to vote in favor of this tower. And I'm available for any questions if you have any. Thank you.
Ms. Perez, thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to run down our list of commissioners once again to see if there's any additional questions for either Jared or, is it Alice or Lise? Or Alice?
Alice.
Alice, there we go. Okay, so I'll start with Steve Harris. Any questions?
Well, I don't really. I think that the professionals here have covered things very well. But Steve had a question about the coverage maps, and I didn't understand the question either. And we didn't get that clarified. Is there a way to do that?
Well, when we get down to Steve, I'll have him ask that question.
Okay, so I'm fine at this time. Thank you.
Perfect. And then I will come back at the end of our public session for any comments. So we don't have to worry about comments at this point. We'll just run through the questions. So at this point, Commissioner Holt.
No additional questions, Chair, but I do have some comments for the end. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. I'll make sure we come back on that. If I miss it, remind me, please. Commissioner Hurst. Valerie, any questions?
Oh, you couldn't hear that? No.
We can hear. Okay, there we go. Okay, Marco, Mr. Lizarraga.
No, I think that, no, would you, well, let me ask a question. Would you be amenable to doing something about the aesthetics? Because I think that's a big concern. Like I want as many towers as possible, so that I can have a good reception. And the technology is good for the community. It's needed. But would you be amenable to enhancing with an aesthetic, coverage of the antenna?
Jared, I'll throw that to you. That's probably your question, don't you think?
Yeah, I would be happy to answer. I mean, to this point, we feel that AT&T has accommodated the city of Woodland greatly with agreeing to a faux water tank with artistic work on the sides of the tank, as well as a CMU wall opposed to a wood fence with a decorative gate, in addition to landscaping around the front and east side of the facility for buffers. Beyond that, there's not much else we could do. We entertained a monopine at first, and we worked towards the faux water tank as the optimal design for this area. But yeah, that would be my answer.
Okay, Jared, thank you on that. Any other questions, Marco?
No, that's fine. I would have loved to have seen a flying saucer light, but this is fine.
Thank you, Marco. Commissioner Lopez.
No, we're all good. My question was answered.
Good, thank you, Fred. Commissioner Wong.
No, I just want to thank AT&T for an impressive presentation. I guess, they've answered most of my questions. I guess, my question about the coverage maps came with one of the comments. I guess the comments indicated that AT&T provided several different coverage maps and they put it in the comments. So, I didn't know. So that's the only question I have. But other than that, I think that's a pretty good presentation by AT&T.
Thank you, Steve. I have no other questions. And so at this point, I would like to ask Cindy so we are in an open public hearing at this point, and I'd like to ask Cindy if we have received any comments by voicemail, email, or do we have any live call-ins, and I'll let you manage that for us. Again, remind everybody that we have a 3-minute limit. We'll take those comments from the public, then we will come back to our commission for any final comments or actions. Cindy?
Yes, thank you. Chairman Wells, we do have quite a number of emails and voicemails. I do not know if we have any call-in at this time. So what we will be doing, myself and Ana Gonzalez will be reading off the emails. We'll switch off and we will read them for a total of 3 minutes on each email. Some of them are fairly short, but some are a little longer. And I apologize if this takes a little bit of time to work through. So I'll start off by reading the first 3 emails. The first email is from Judith Trialt, I think it is. Hers was received on April 8th. And her question is, have there been studies done on environmental impact to the community? I would like to see them. I hope our local governing body would not adopt anything of this substance without community input. I would like to see much more information before enactment of this legislation. I ask that this would be tabled until this healthcare crisis is resolved so that the public would have the opportunity to be more involved in the decision-making process. Since we live here and have a vested interest, thank you for your consideration. And I have to admit, I cannot see the 3-minute timer when I'm reading. So this next comment is, and I'm sorry if I don't pronounce this right, Berenice Cabrera. And she says, I'm a Woodland resident and I oppose the installation of the 5G cell tower that the city of Woodland is trying to install. I am against this. So the next email is from Lisa Trongo. And she writes, I live in the area and oppose this tower for the property values and health and safety for the public. Find an area that is not near our homes and put the public at risk. Thank you, Lisa Trongo. So I think Ana Gonzalez will be reading the next 3.
Yes, so I will start. This is from Lit Gypsy 2006. I oppose the building of a 5G tower. Not enough research has been done concerning the dangers of the radiation. The next one is from Sari Arathanam. I live at 746 West Lincoln Avenue, Woodland. I strongly object to this tower being located at 231 West Main Street. The next one I have is from Carissa David Perez. Good afternoon. I am writing to you today to oppose this tower project. The location of this tower is right on one of our town's busiest streets. This tower would be near outdoor eating areas, an outdoor car wash, and next door to a veterinary clinic. There have been reports in the news recently about how these towers can be unsafe for the community. I live 0.2 miles north of this tower, and I am opposed to this location in our wonderful town. I am concerned for the safety of our community and the size of this tower on one of our main streets. Sincerely, Carissa Perez, local house owner.
Okay, I will read the next one. So this email is from Kath Hosen. And she states, I read about the proposed 75-foot stealth communications tower to go 1 Main Street in the Daily Democrat, and that Epic Wireless Group is proposing the payment of a public art in lieu fee to the city with the intent that YOLO Arts would commission an original art piece. Why not use the opportunity to create a cell tower that is a work of art in itself? I went on Pinterest to look at disguised cell towers and found this image. I think we have an opportunity here to create something beautiful. I'd like to recommend that AT&T through Epic Wireless work with YOLO Arts and perhaps a local artist to come up with a design that is an artwork as well as a cell tower instead of the water tower idea. Kath Hosen, Woodland resident. And I believe this email was forwarded to the commission members, and there is an attached image in that email. Okay. So the next item is from Becky Martin. This one has an attachment that I believe is several pages long. So I will begin to read it, and if somebody can tell me when I reach 3 minutes, that would be. So the email states, hello, Megan. Please promptly forward the attached documents to all of the members of the Planning Commission. Thank you. So the text of this is, Honorable Planning Commission, we are writing to discuss the City of Woodlands Hereinafter City, April 16th, 2020 hearing agenda item H2 AT&T Cell Tower Conditional Use Permit for 231 West Main Street, Woodland. We request that the City Planning Commission deny the project. Specifically, the project should be denied because the absence of evidence that the project will not interfere with threatened species in the area. Number 2, the absence of evidence that the project's radio frequency waves comply with federal standards. Number 3, the absence of evidence that the project is necessary to fill a significant service gap. Number 4, the project's proximity to a school. And number 5, interference issues pertaining to the project's conflicts with current use, the project's visual impacts, and site selection issues. Factual background. Development Application Project Support Statement. The proposal by AT&T, care of Epic Wireless Group, aims to construct a 75-foot cell phone tower structured to present as a water tower on the heavily trafficked West Main Street. According to the applicant, the project objective is to offload 2 adjacent sites capacity relief, which will result in filling a significant gap in the LTE coverage and will provide FirstNet services in the coverage area. There's another AT&T site located approximately 0.9 miles away to the southwest, and a third site located approximately 1.2 miles east of the subject property. The applicant states that the project will consist of a 35 by 35 1,225 square foot enclosure, which will include a 91-foot monopine tower, 1 pre-manufactured equipment cabinet, and 1 30-watt standby diesel generator with a 190-gallon belly tank. The tower will operate 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. The tower will be built to provide co-location opportunities for at least 1 additional carrier. Maintenance workers will visit the site approximately once a month to once every 3 months. The standby generator will turn on once a week for 15 minutes for maintenance purposes between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. and during emergency power outages.
Cindy,
Yes.
your time is up at 3 minutes.
The next email is from Ralph Fears, and he writes, I do not want the tower. It will lower my property value, and the risk from 5G wavelength will be detrimental to our immune system. There's not enough testing on the 5G wavelength and its effect on our body. Thank you.
Okay, the next email I have is from Spencer Defty. Megan, hope all is well and you are staying safe during this time. I wanted to send this email to submit to the City Council and planning for our concerns regarding the proposed tower for AT&T on West Main Street. We as nearby neighbors would be adversely affected according to credible studies by multiple universities and independent studies. The health risks, as well as a concern for property values due to the health risk of an adjacent tower, are of great concern. I have attached 2 links to 2 such studies that are from UC Berkeley and the other from EN Studies, an independent group which studies the health risks from radio waves showing a definite link to human safety concerns. I could attach multiple studies that come to the same conclusion as these. However, I think that you understand the concern simply of these ones and can simply do your own search of the effects caused by these towers in population centers. Additionally, this health issue will have a direct impact on our property values and cannot be ignored by the city. We would like to see assurance on health and safety property values that would be in place should this be passed. If this does have an adverse effect on either, who will be responsible and what measures will the city have in place to hold them accountable? It feels as though these should be addressed at the minimum for the approval to move forward before a vote to approve should be voted on. Sincerely, Spencer Defty, Sterling May Equipment Company, Woodland, California. The next email I have is from Tara Figueroa. Please find my letter in opposition of the AT&T cell phone tower. Okay, I'll begin. Dear Community Development Department, this letter is to strongly oppose the AT&T cell tower conditional use permit and any related installation or infrastructure related to such permit at the location of 231 West Main Street, APN 065-010-010. There are many health and safety concerns specifically related to this tower's use, and it does not appear the proper research and studies have been reviewed to determine how this will impact public health. It is inevitable this will become a 5G cellular communications tower, which will negatively impact the health of our residents. 5G produces radio frequency radiation, thus causing radiation poisoning. Some of these health concerns include, but are not limited to, shortness of breath, cold and flu-like symptoms, fever, increased cancer risk, disorientation, bloody vomit, and stools from internal bleeding and fatigue. Some of these same concerns arose when our technology advanced from 3G to 4G, which increased the speed, strength, and data transmission by 100 times. However, 5G increases this by 1,000 times. With over 1,000 studies showing how 5G negatively impacts a person's health, as well as emitting radiation, it is imperative that this be researched independent of AT&T or any affiliates thoroughly before moving forward with the decision to install this new cellular telecommunication tower. Has AT&T disclosed the amount of EMF exposure or RF frequency this will subject our public and surrounding businesses to, and what is the distance in range these EMF and RF waves will travel and be transmitted? This is being installed in a highly populated and trafficked area where many people will be exposed to the negative effects. If the threat was visible, it would be a bigger concern, as we would be able to physically see the constant danger and threat emitted directly as us. However, since it is not visible, it becomes an invisible enemy that must be researched more thoroughly. Additionally, the notice of public hearing states the 75-foot stealth telecommunication cellular tower in the shape of a water tower. This is rather concerning. It is widely known these 5G telecommunication towers have been constructed in various shapes to mimic the appearance of nature, such as trees. This hidden threat is being normalized in its appearance as a non-threatening object to manipulate and deceive the public of what it really is. Currently, over 250,000 telecom workers get radiation poisoning symptoms every year. And just last year, several parents raised concerns at a California school about the effects of radiation poisoning coming from a newly installed tower. When children develop cancer, I have included some links and images for you to reference.
Perfect.
No.
Anna, your time's up. Perfect. 3 minutes.
And let's see the next one. This is from Becky and Tony Martin. Dear Community Development Department, this letter seeks to oppose an AT&T cell tower conditional use permit for 231 West Main Street, Woodland, California, 95695, APN 065. Hold on. Went away. I'm sorry, hold on. 065-010-010-000. We request at the public hearing scheduled for March 19, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. in the City Council chambers regarding the conditional use permit be rescheduled. Notice was not provided in order to secure legal counsel and acquire research relating to property value impacts, rental value impacts, and public health impacts that would directly affect us, our neighbors, and the community. Based on the limited time we had to address this issue, we offer the following objections to the proposed construction. The proposed tower will stand at a height of 87 feet in an area of single-story buildings. The project will be incommode and an eyesore to the community. Passersby will recognize that the structure is incongruent with the area, and the structure's discord will be a focal point overshadowing landmarks such as the Woodland Opera House or corner drugstore on Main Street. The development of other stealth towers in the city has led to structures with visible and obvious satellites or exterior fixtures. The planned structure is a public health and safety concern. The structure is oversized for the lot proposed. The tower will be located approximately 114 feet from the West Main Street public thoroughway and near the property line of the surrounding lots and public areas. The affected thoroughway has heavy foot traffic and vehicular travel. Due to the tower's high visibility, it will incur and attract climbing and vandalizing by people. Further, a tower this tall would cause serious damage, injury, or death in the event of a natural disaster. It has the potential to block thoroughfare and crush surrounding buildings or residences. The plan includes incorporation of a 30 kilowatt diesel generator that will be operated at the rear of the site. The generator will provide unnerving and audible industrial noise to nearby properties. This noise will reduce occupants' right to quiet enjoyment. The Fairmont condominium families living approximately 100 feet from the tower and approximately 50 feet from the generator will be directly affected. Additionally, the unknown effects of radio frequency radiation, especially of 4G signaling this tower will support, and moreover, for the 5G will inevitably rise out of this location are alarming. Studies show low radio frequency waves can damage DNA and lead to cancer. However, advancement of radio wave networking into the 5G sphere can transmit signals strong enough to penetrate a bank vault. The land.
We're out of time on that one.
I think that's it for me.
Okay, then I will read the next ones. So we have an email from Lisa Bressler, and she writes, members of the City Council, I am a Woodland resident and am concerned about the planned installation of a 5G tower downtown. The safety of 5G technology has not yet been proven. As a matter of fact, there are some studies showing that it causes detrimental health effects. We are in the midst of a global pandemic. People in our city, country, and the rest of the world are already living with fear, stress, and anxiety about the health of themselves and their loved ones. This project is introducing yet another cause for worry for many residents of Woodland, and it should not go through. Thank you, Lisa Bressler.
Cindy, did you miss one at the bottom from Diane Martini? Do you see that one? It's addressed to Megan, I think. It's a forward. It says cell tower.
I see a voice message. I see 2 voice messages.
I have it open. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, sure.
This is from Diane DiMartini and Jim Nakel. It says, Dear Ms. Meyer, it has come to our attention that there is a proposed cell tower to be constructed at 231 West Main Street, Woodland, California. We have never received any notification of this proposal and do not subscribe to the Daily Democrat where it was supposedly advertised. Shouldn't the adjoining owners of 231 West Main Street be notified in writing of any proposals such as this? We own approximately 2.1 acres at 626 West Lincoln Avenue, Woodland, California, which is behind the subject property. Our property has been occupied by the Christian school in the past, and for the past 20 years, Head Start has leased our property. The history for the uses of this property have been for grammar and preschool children. We feel the tower would be dangerous and unsafe for the school children because of the radiation exposure. The oak, woodlands, trees, and other foliage that is referred to in the operation statement from EPIC is on other owners' properties, ours included, and there is no proof that the foliage and trees will remain at the individual properties. We are totally opposed to this project in that location, not only for the above mentioned reasons, but because it is also unsightly and would definitely affect our property value. Please give a copy of our letter to the Woodland Planning Commission. Best regards, Diane DiMartini and Jim Nakel.
Okay, and then there's several more here. I'm just kind of scrolling up. So the next one is, actually it's, let me see, it's from pewmemorial@gmail.com. And the subject line is fake cell tower letter. Let's see. Megan, someone's mailing city letterhead with opposition literature on the back of the city's notice. Thought you should know. Thanks, Tom. So the next item is from Tom Green. And so it says, my name is Tom Green. I own the property at 217 West Main Street, 2 doors down from the proposed cell tower. After some research, I have come to the conclusion that I'm against the tower being installed at that location. The two factors that have influenced my decision are as follows. Number one, I have been told that this tower is not currently a 5G tower. For 5G to work properly, it needs many more towers for a given area than earlier generations needed. So my guess is this will be turned into a 5G tower at some point. There's a lot that is currently unknown about 5G and its potentially harmful effects. I would feel more comfortable postponing the cell tower until more information is in. Number two, on the public health and safety alert, the City of Woodlands Planning Commission sent out to the area property owners. It states that in addition to the possible health risks of 5G, and possibly because of it, property owners in close proximity of the cell site may receive a property value reduction of up to 20%. I can't think of a property owner that would like to see their property value reduced up to 20%. Those are my thoughts on the subject. Thank you for your time and effort on this issue. Sincerely, Tom Green.
Okay, I'll read the next one is from Marcy Valenzuela. Council members, I am very concerned about this 5G 70-foot cell phone tower you are planning on putting on West Main Street. Why is this area being considered? This is in the middle of town with 2 elementary schools and a middle school and a high school in its radius, not to mention the senior apartments around and all the other apartments that house lots of children. Are you looking at that particular stop because the price is right for your budget and not thinking of all the businesses, homes, schools, and the safety of our community? You council members are all well aware of the safety issues and the damage it can cause a human being. Do you think by offering us 20% off our property tax is okay and that will solve all issues? No, it's not okay. I've suffered from cancer and is in remission, and I would hate for my cancer to come back because of this tower. And the City of Woodland and council members think it's all okay because we are getting 20% off our taxes. City of Woodland and Yolo County has so much rural areas to build this tower where there are no buildings around. Don't see why it doesn't go there. Why don't you put this tower off 102 and Pioneer where all the new homes are? Why are you looking at this location? Is it because you feel it's an older part of town and the residents are not wealthy? This tower should go in a county road out in the county, not in town. I can see Woodland getting sued for lots of health issues because of this tower. I'm very disappointed in the city to even consider having a thing like this in town. What has the city come to? Marcy Valenzuela. The next one I have is from Joe Romero Jr. To whom it may concern, my name is Joe Romero Jr. from Woodland, California, lifelong resident and former Parks and Recreation Commissioner for the City of Woodland. I am urging the planning commissioners and council members to vote no against the proposed cell tower on West Main Street. Topography, for hundreds of years until the recent construction of the new Yolo County Courthouse, there have never been structures or building taller than 3 stories high in Woodland or on Main Street. West Main Street is a huge entrance pointway for travelers and citizens alike. They all have to see this tower for generations. The topography of this area has never or had or needed a cell tower that looks like a water tower. This tower location needs to be reassessed. Cell reception. West Woodland has had great cell reception, so there is no need for such a big tower. I know the need for a new cell tower in the new Spring Lake development area where the reception is horrible, and the new cell tower should be built in East Woodland. Or I do not believe the correct amount of outreach has been seriously made for this kind of project. I led outreach efforts for PG&E in Woodland, so I know how to lead a successful outreach program in Woodland. This is not a successful outreach program. COVID-19 timing. During these difficult times with COVID-19 in Woodland and Yolo County, Woodland residents do not have time to properly be informed with little outreach and COVID outside. The timing is off with COVID-19 epidemic happening here at home. Citizens of Woodland should be asked to have major input and not just to have input on how you vote or not. There was no questionnaire sent to the whole city of Woodland. One article in the Daily Democrat does not cut it. If there are any questions, please email me anytime. Please vote no. Joe Romero Jr., Woodland resident. Okay, that was,
Okay. So I think the next one is from Naomi Vitella. Planning commissioners, I am urging the planning commissioners and council members to vote no against the proposed cell tower on West Main Street. I do not believe there's been enough outreach and communication to the community on the topic and for their buy-in, especially during the current global health and economic crisis. This topic requires further discussion with community members, especially those that are unaware and historically disadvantaged in our community. Thank you, Naomi V. There's another one. It is just an email address, cheap find on Posh. It says, Planning Commission, you should vote no against the proposed cell tower on West Main Street. How many disadvantaged communities in town have you discussed this topic with? And what outreach have you done to your community to consider their needs and position on this topic, especially during this troubling time? Thank you. Let's see, there's one more from Becky Martin. She said, hello. This was our recorded message from last night. We want to ensure that the voice message was received. If not, please read in the meeting. I do believe we have a voice message from this individual. Take a look at the attachment. You know, unfortunately, I'm not able to open it. I don't know if you can, Anna.
let me open it.
Okay.
Yes. Hello, Planning Commission. My name is Jody Martin. My wife and I are the property owners at 221 West Main Street, which is next door to the cellular tower project at 231 West Main. In addition to the email packages we previously submitted to the Planning Commission in opposition of the cellular tower project, we are urging you to either delay this meeting until it can be heard in a public forum or simply vote against the approval of this project. Reasons why this project should not be considered, but is not limited to: it has not been proven that the construction will not interfere with a threatened bird species. It has not been proven that the radio frequency waves comply with federal standards. It has not been proven that the project is necessary to fill a service gap. The proximity is close to an education facility. The conflict of the location's use, the project's visual impacts, the selection of the site, the possible devaluation of homes and commercial buildings in the area, the possible loss of commercial tenants. We found out about this project March 2nd, 2020. Upon investigation, it was discovered that this cell tower project has been in progress since August 2019. In an era of being transparent, the City of Woodland or anyone else involved should have provided some type of written letter or verbal communication notifying all affected property owners. On Tuesday, April 14th, AT&T marked construction type lines leading from our property to the proposed cellular tower site. The cell tower project hasn't even been approved by the Planning Commission. As you can see, we are concerned that it seems very suspicious. Work appears to have been started. It certainly has the appearance that the project has been pre-approved. It is, in our opinion, that the nearby homeowners and business owners should have been aware of the project when it was proposed last year. Again, why wouldn't the City of Woodland make every attempt to let the citizens and affected property owners know? It would have led to less questions and better relationship and communications within the community. This tower will dominate all nearby structures and trees at 75 feet. Consideration should be given to the homeowners and families that live in the condominiums to the south of this project. Those families will have to live 24/7 under the shadow of that tower. Due to the seriousness of COVID-19, we should not be having a virtual meeting. We are disappointed that we could not speak to you in person. A decision of this magnitude should have been given more time to be sufficiently scrutinized. This cellular tower is something we will all have to live with for many years to come. We urge you to vote against the construction of this cellular tower. Thank you for your time.
Excellent. Is that the last of
No.
our emails?
There's two more.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is from Jessica Vitella. I vote no on the new cell tower, Jessica Vitella. And the last one is from Moni Cha. And she says, I'm a Woodland resident. My name is Monica, and I oppose the 5G cell tower. For health and safety reasons, I object to this. So I see that we just received one right now.
We did, and Cindy, I see one farther down that we missed from Yolanda Safoya.
Okay. Let's see. Do you want to read that one, and then I'll read the one?
Yes, yes. So this is from Yolanda Tafoya, to whom this may concern. I am taking the time to write this email to express my concern about the proposal for the 5G cell tower installation. I absolutely do not agree with the proposal. I have children living here. I'm really concerned about the potential health risk. Cell towers should be placed on a non-residential area. There are schools in less than 5 miles away. This is not acceptable. Is my understanding once the cell towers are built, they can go up to an additional 20 feet without community consent? I'm also concerned about the impact regarding the property value. Please reconsider placing the tower somewhere else. We already have enough stress in our life with COVID-19. Please do not add to it. Thank you.
Okay, and then the one that just came in from Jeremy Rodriguez. Do we have a need for such a tower? No one is complaining they don't have coverage. Sounds like AT&T is need one of the Woodland and Woodland wants to capitalize on the opportunity by adding additional carriers, thus increasing the activity of the tower. Are we in need of a 5G tower? No. So it looks like that's all of the emails. The next step right now will be to transition to Jay in the back, and he will be having the voicemails come through. And I think there are quite a few of them also.
Yeah, currently there are 0 calls that are on hold.
Should we take those first or do the voicemails?
Why don't
do voicemails? Actually, no calls came in. One call came in, and they were on hold for about 10 minutes, and they dropped off. So I will check for callers again when I'm done playing the voicemails. We do have approximately 20 voicemails. Some of them are only a couple seconds long. They're hang-ups, but I just want to make sure that we play them all.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jay. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm a resident of Woodland, California. The tower subject it's an eyesore when you put something like that in town. Those things should be put out in the city limits or in the country, not where people can see them. Kind of makes the town takes away the beauty of Woodland. City of trees, not cell towers. Thank you.
Hi, I'm a resident of Woodland, and I'm highly concerned about the fake water tower that is going to be put in. I haven't done a whole lot of research on it, but I think that there needs to be more looked into. As of right now, it's saying that it's not going to provide any sort of a safety hazard. And I've just been seeing a lot of information about cell towers not being healthy for us, that I don't know, there's a lot of information out there. I haven't personally evaluated it, but it just doesn't sound safe. We have great connection here. Our internet connection is just fine. I live very close to where that tower is going to be. My concern is the health impact that's going to be placed on children in the area, on everyone in this area. We don't need more cell
here, that there has to be some serious research done on the effects of these cell towers and what they do to the human body. It just doesn't seem fair to let AT&T come in here and put up a fake water tower, probably poisoning our people through the cellular activity. There needs to be more research, and we've got to talk to our people about this. People should be informed. It doesn't seem very fair to me. So thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm a concerned citizen calling in regards to the fake water tower. That's actually a cellular tower that's going to be put in Woodland. I'm wondering if it's 5G or what type of technology is being used, and if we've researched the impact it will have on our community, pets, plants, children. Just address it, greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mindy. I'm calling in regard to the city public hearing regarding the tower that's supposed to be put in, the AT&T cell tower that's supposed to be put in on 231 West Main Street. I live in the area and would be one of the people that would take a 20% property value reduction. I have a very big concern about that, and a huge concern about my health risks and my family's health risks for having something with such radiation just down the street from my house. If something were to go into place, I would think that I would hold the county, the city, and AT&T liable if someone in my household were to get cancer or to die of one of these radiation. Or if I have a loss in property value. Right now, my property was valued at $400,000. If I was to lose that property value, I would say that the city owes me, or at least AT&T owes me, for their property being put here and destroying the value of my home and my neighbor's home. I have elderly people who live in the neighborhood. I want them to live as long as possible. Putting something in there that could hurt them, and I have a big problem with that. I hope my voice will be heard, and I wish you all the best.
My name is Jamie. I live in an area where they're asking to put up a 5G cell tower on West Main. I have concerns for my health risk because I'm already ill and don't need any more health care. I don't see any reason for such a powerful tower in such a small town. A good portion of our community is retired, and most don't care about faster wireless service as much as our health. Oh, va a estar abierto el 16, ¿cuándo es el 16? Abril 16 de sur.
Hi, I'm leaving a message regarding item number H.1, cell phone tower at 231 West Main Street. I live in the neighborhood, and I strongly object to this tower coming up at the location that it's that's currently proposed. Thank you.
This is Ralph G. Sears. I'm calling in regards to item number H.1. I live at 262 Riverside Drive. I do not want the tower. It will lower my property value, and the risk from 5G wavelength will be detrimental for our immune system. There is not enough testing on the 5G wavelength and its effect on our body. Thank you.
Hello, I'm a senior citizen of good age, and I'm on a fixed income, and I want to know how this AT&T tower is going to interfere with my TV reception, because I'm on an antenna, and I depend on that for some entertainment, and I don't want AT&T interfering with the broadcast and forcing me into taking some service that they provide, because I've tried to avoid that service for a long time now, and I don't want to do it now. So please let me know how this is going to interfere with my antenna. Thank you.
This is in reference to agenda item H.2 for the meeting to be held on April 16th.
Hello, Planning Commission. My name is Tony Martin. My wife and I are the property owners at 221 West Main Street, which is next door to the cellular tower project at 231 West Main. In addition to the email packages we previously submitted to the Planning Commission in opposition of the cellular tower project, we are urging you to either delay this meeting until it can be heard in a public forum or simply vote against the approval of this project. The reasons why this project should not be considered, but is not limited to, it has not been proven that the construction will not interfere with threatened bird species. It has not been proven that the radio frequency waves comply with federal standards. It has not been proven that the project is necessary to fill a service gap. Proximity is close to an educational facility, the conflict of the location's use, the project's visual impact, the selection of the site, the possible evaluation of homes and commercial buildings in the area, the possible loss of commercial tenants. We found out about this project March 2nd, 2020. Upon investigation, it was discovered that this cell tower project has been in progress since August 2019. In an area being transparent, the city of Woodland or anyone else involved should have provided some type of written letter or verbal communication notifying all affected property owners. On Tuesday, April 14th, AT&T marked construction type lines from our property to the proposed cellular tower site. The cell tower project hasn't been approved by the Planning Commission. As you can see, we are concerned that it seems very suspicious. Work appears to have been started. It certainly has the appearance that the project has been pre-approved. It is in our opinion that the nearby homeowners and business owners should have been aware of the project when it was proposed last year. Again, why wouldn't the city of Woodland make every attempt to let the citizens and affected property owners know? It would have led to less questions and better relationships and communications with the community. This tower will dominate all nearby structures and trees at 75 feet. Consideration should be given to the homeowners and families that live in the condominiums to the south of this project. Those families will have to live 24/7 under the shadow of that tower. Due to the seriousness of COVID-19, we should not be having a virtual meeting. We are disappointed that we could not speak with you in person. A decision of this magnitude should have been given more time to be sufficiently scrutinized. The cellular tower is something we will all have to live with for many years to come. We urge you to vote against the construction of the cellular tower. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry if I rushed. There's a lot of information that had to be put out. Thank you.
Hey, Jay, this is Kirby. How many more do we have?
Kirby, there looks like there's a total of 21, and we're on number 12 right now.
Okay, so let me take a second here, and Cindy, and let me just ask the board members. I'm getting a little bit of feedback here, Jay. So I don't know if we've got something open there. But Cindy, if we decide to continue this, because we do have another item on the agenda, if the commission feels that we should extend this and keep this open to the next meeting, could we do that? Listen to the balance of those at that time, and then work on the next item on our agenda? What's your feelings on that?
Yeah. I mean, I suppose we could. If we have, it sounds like maybe 11 more to listen to. To take them into account as part of the meeting. And is the Planning Commission intending to provide specific direction for staff with regard to additional items that you would like us to, research or analyze or come back with on a continuance also?
Okay, then let me ask you this question, Cindy. If we work through this item on the public notice, listen to the rest of the messages, can we then move our second item, which is the subdivision, safely to the next meeting without a lot of impact? Because otherwise we're going to run past 9 o'clock.
I would not recommend I think the applicant for the second item would very much like to move forward.
Okay.
I think planning commission can.
Let's see if we can burn through these then. Go ahead, Jay.
Mhm.
This is in reference to agenda item 8.2 for the meeting to be held.
Hello, this is a public comment on item number H1 for the April 16th City Council meeting. My name is Tom Green. I own the property at 217 West Main Street, 2 doors down from the proposed cell tower. After research, I have come to the conclusion that I am against the tower being installed at this location. The two factors that have influenced my decision are as follows. Number one, I've been told that this tower is not currently a 5G tower. For 5G to work properly, it needs many more towers for a given area than earlier generations needed. So my guess is this will be turned into a 5G tower at some point. There is a lot that is currently unknown about 5G and its potentially harmful effects. I would feel more comfortable postponing a cell tower until more information is in. Number two, on the quote, public health and safety alert, end quote, the City of Woodland Planning Commission sent out to the area property owners, it states that in addition to the possible health risks of 5G, and possibly because of it, property owners in close proximity to the cell site may receive a property value reduction of up to 20%. I can't think of a property owner that would like to see their property value reduced by up to 20%. Those are my thoughts on the subject. Thank you for all your time and effort on this issue. Sincerely, Tom Green. Postscript. If this project is allowed to move forward, I would expect to see a 20% reduction in my assessed value and a subsequent 20% reduction in my property taxes. Thank you.
Please note, commissioners, that these are repeat comments that we're listening to. We're hearing letters that are also voicemails. So we're sort of hearing the same comments again, and I hope that that's being noticed by the commission.
Happily, the public is being offered a chance to express concern regarding the water tower, end quote. I believe that there is enough controversy regarding wireless towers that we should err on the side of caution regarding their use and their placement in a populated area. It does not seem to be the most appropriate place for such a tower, the location on Main Street. I am not advocating placement on farms and country either, simply because there is a profit to be made, which I'm sure is the motivating factor behind all of this. If these towers are truly safe, why not place them in the backyards of our pro-tower city council members? This seems fair. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joe Romero Jr. I'm a former Parks Commissioner for the City of Woodland, and I'm urging the Planning Commission to vote no against this proposed cell phone tower on West Main Street. I feel that the topography of the area and the history of Woodland would never have any buildings over 3 stories, and I think this doesn't fit the bill. So there's never been any need for one, and it's a big entrance point for travelers, and then they're going to have to see this cell phone tower for generations. So I think this tower should be reassessed. As far as cell phone reception, I think West Woodland has great reception, and there's really no need for such a big tower. But I do know that Spring Lake development does, and the reception there is horrible, and I think that this cell phone tower should be on Woodland. As far as outreach, I think that the outreach has been poor. I don't believe that many people in Woodland know about this project. I've led projects here in Woodland for PG&E and several others, and I just don't think that this outreach program for the cell phone tower has met the needs of Woodland. And as far as COVID-19 happening, I think this is horrible timing as well. So many people in Woodland should have the major input in this project, and I just don't think that having one article in the Daily Democrat counts for outreach. I know it does, but I just don't think that it's going the extra mile. There was no questionnaire sent to the whole city of Woodland asking residents individually if they would like this. Not just to call on urge you guys to vote no or yes, but to have major input on this project. So I think the need is on the east side of Woodland. I just don't think that this tower should be erected here with the topography, no cell phone reception needed, and then COVID-19 happening here. So my name is Joe Romero Jr. I just think that the commissioner should vote no. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Jason Banuelos. I'm a homeowner off of Matmore. I've lived here 30 years. I just want to address my concern about new tower going in, and wondering why we're just now finding out about it. And I'm also a Freemason, so the Freemasons Woodland Lodge will be looking into the situation as well, and everyone that we are involved in. This is a community thing, and we want to make sure that our community is safe first before a big ugly water tower that doesn't even hold water comes in for a third party. You know, we're doing this for the cell phone companies. What are they giving us? I just need some answers. 916-812-9636. Again, Jason Banuelos.
Hi, this message is for the city council meeting. It's in regards to the proposed cell phone tower that is going to be receiving votes today at today's meeting. As a Woodland resident who resided in Woodland for over 20 years and who currently has family members, extended family members, friends, close friends of all kinds who currently live in Woodland, I'd like to ask the city council not to approve the new 75-foot cell phone tower that is proposed to be located in the center of Woodland, West Woodland to be exact. You know, as a public resident and as a community member, I feel that themes or projects of this nature should require more input from the community, and it's not something that just gets kind of thrown in the direction of the residents, specifically the residents who are not well informed or do not have a broad understanding or strong understanding of the governmental processes that are used when deciding measures and proposed projects that affect everybody in the community. I think that it should be postponed and it should be questioned more and allow more residents to input their perspectives and maybe help make a better decision. That's all for now, but I trust that as elected officials in the government, you're experienced and educated enough to make the proper decision that will hopefully affect all residents in the most positive form possible. And with that being said, thank you for listening to my message. Thank you for taking my opinion and my perspective into consideration, and I hope everybody stays safe out there with the current situation that we see here with this virus, you know, jeopardizing our livelihoods. And I hope you all stay safe. Take care. Bye.
This is Jack Lasoya, and I want the commission to vote no on that water tower on the west side of Main Street. Thank you.
Hi, I vote no on that
tower. Hello, my name is Monica, and I am a resident of Woodland, California, and I want to oppose the 5G tower going up for health and safety reasons. Thank you.
That is the end of the voicemails, and currently there are 0 people on hold that have called into the telephone number.
Thank you, Jay. Okay, at this time, I'd like to bring it back to the commission for any additional questions. But Cindy, I would like to ask you a question before I start going through the list. And I have a significant concern because it sounds like perhaps a letter was sent out that looked like it was from the city of Woodland. Um, is have you? I mean, it sounds like we had a copy sent to us, but did somebody send something out that purported to be a Woodland document?
You know, we just received an email copy of that document and have not seen a hard copy of it. But yes, that was our understanding, is that somebody either on the back of our notice put some information on that.
So it appears that it came from us because it sounds like a number of the individuals that were speaking were referencing information that they thought came from the city of Woodland when perhaps it didn't. Is that correct?
I would say that that sounds correct.
Okay, so that's obviously a concern. And so now I'll just kind of go through our list, and this will be both for any finishing questions and any comments. So as we go down, go ahead and feel free to ask Cindy a question or direct it to Jared if it applies. So we'll start with Commissioner Harris.
Well, I think it's rather obvious that there's concerns in the community. It seems to me that there is some misinformation out there because we heard an awful lot of comments that just the facts don't bear out to what our staff report was. So at the very least, we're going to have to clear up, I think, a lot of misconceptions, and we need to calm the fears that people have. And I think the only way to really do that is to take this information, digest it, study it, have staff help us. And then on our next meeting, when that would be for this, we could get back and maybe clear up a lot of these issues. I do not have a specific question for the staff because of all the things that we heard. I wouldn't know where to start.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Commissioner Holt?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have any additional questions. However, I do want to follow up on one piece of information that I had stated previously. Mr. Kearsley attempted to respond to, and it starts to look at the method of providing emergency power to these facilities. And as an architect who's involved in some of the code development, I really think it behooves you to begin looking at alternate power sources, including battery systems that can store solar power and things of that nature, because inherently, I believe our code is going toward zero net carbon and or all electrification. So I think it's important to start looking at that. I understand you don't have that on this particular thing. And as for this cell tower, I know we have them around the city. I know that they do greatly increase our capabilities within the city, although I also understand some of the fears that go around it. As this is not currently being proposed as a 5G tower, I think there's a significant amount of work that we have to do to inform our community. And if the Planning Commission believes at another meeting at a later date, possibly in person, is the way to do that, then I would consider that. That is all that I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Commissioner Holt, thank you. Commissioner Hurst, Valerie?
Yeah, I believe that there's a lot of concern over decreasing property values as well for this, as an impact of this project. And I would like to open up a little bit of research that Cindy and our department could do to confirm actual decreases in property values. You know, this number of 20% is being thrown around, but I think that we have the resources on hand to be able to go out and say, this is where another couple of cell towers have been placed in our community, and this was the resulting these were the resulting home prices in the following months to years. I think we should confirm that because that is another really important piece of information that needs to be clarified not only to us, but to the greater public within our community. So I would like to point that towards Cindy. So yes, I would be in favor as well as pushing this towards at least 2 weeks from now so that we can get some public comment on that information, but also probably towards a further date in the future for an in-person meeting.
Commissioner Hurst, thank you. I agree with you. Commissioner Lazaga?
Okay, I don't really have any questions. I do have a concern, and I mentioned it before, had to do with aesthetics, and I think there's a lot of issues with that people brought out. Secondly, my opinion is the following. If I'm going to do a real estate study and research about the impact of one little tower is going to have on the properties, wow. Okay, we're going to have to hire some top-notch researchers. They're going to take maybe 6 months to a year. Okay, that's the first thing. And still, at the end of the day, it's going to be a purely speculation what that impact might be. On the second issue of whether this energy source, and it's not really an energy source, well, it is in a way, but whether it causes any damage to our bodies or to anyone. That's another lengthy research with a lot of speculation. And I doubt very much that we are going to be able to alleviate opposition based on those things that would take so long to research. Okay? That's my first thing. So I think that the only issue that we can really are going to be able to address, and we should, is the aesthetic part of it. Everything else, it's an incredible amount of research that I don't think the city can afford to do. I don't think any city really can afford to do that. The real estate study, believe me, on the impacts of that, I've done research and studies before on housing, filtering theories and what have you. It's not easy and it's long. And it's going to take a PhD or some research firm. I don't think we have anybody on our staff that can really do that, and much less in the area of the impact of the frequencies that are being generated from the tower, how that affects the human being or the body. So that's my comment, and I think that I would like, I think, in all fairness, do move the meeting, but I thought I'd wait until after the public hearing to suggest what we should do about continuing the meeting and addressing really, if we continue the meeting, we need to have a reason for it. And opposition to it is not good enough. So we have to have a suggestion of why we're going to postpone it. And as far as I'm concerned, I think we have one item that I would like to pose at the end of the public hearing, and it is to go back and address the aesthetics of it. That's my comment, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Marco. Okay, Commissioner Lopez.
Yeah, my only concerns are still the same ones that I had before. I know that it said it met all of the federal guidelines and everything. Who provided that information? I didn't see that in the packet. So as far as the property value stuff, the easiest way you can do that is talk to a realtor that has sold houses in the area and just ask them, if people ever concerned, they have a concern about living next to one of those things. And if they say, yeah, people find out about it, they don't want to live there, then you can have an indication that way, that's just, curbside doctoring, but, it would just kind of give us an insight into the fact that if, people are concerned about living around those things or when they're buying a house. But I would like to see some research, or at least look into the research, or see if there's other people testing those signals after the towers are actually actively up and running, to see if they are going past their parameters of operation. That's about it for me.
Okay, Steve, thank you, Fred. Commissioner Wong.
I just want to check with staff. I think I saw in the presentation that federal law prohibits us from doing anything, denying a cell tower based on concerns on radiation. I think that's what I saw in the presentation. So I don't know if we can. The only two concerns I have are the amount of communication that was done, because it seems like there are a fair amount of people who, property owners are one thing, but people who work around the area, people who sort of rent in that area, and maybe I don't know, maybe there should be some better communication in terms of the 20%. I would guess you can do a market analysis with one of the realtors and say, take a look at the comps and see see if there are any decrease on property values based on the based on cell towers.
Commissioner, if I may step in as the applicant.
Go ahead. Sure.
We've done numerous studies of these, and it's far simpler than what you guys are discussing. We have in real time the addresses of where your towers are in the city of Woodland, and all we have to do is pull up on Zillow their property values before the tower was built and today, and we will tell you that cell towers.
Mr. Congress.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Congress, excuse me. Let me have. I'm going to have Mr. Wong finish here, and then if we have a specific question, we'll come back to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, I think federal law is pretty clear on that one, on the denial of the cell tower. But my main concerns are basically communication with the affected parties or people who think they are affected, and there's a valid concern there that dealing with COVID-19. So maybe there needs to be more communication when people are a little more focused. And that's all the comments I have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. And Mr. Congress, since I've already brought this back from the public arena, I won't be able to have you answer that question. But I agree that certainly the need for communication in this case, people have certainly an increased awareness of this, and I know that we've done a lot of cell towers in the city of Woodland previously. Some in schools, some in sports fields, and a lot of these questions have come up. And also in this case, it appears that there's been documents that perhaps have been sent out appearing to be from the city of Woodland that may have included some information that did not come from the city. So I think that what I would like to do at this time is ask if anyone on the commission would entertain a motion to extend this and keep this meeting, keep this item open until our next scheduled meeting. And if there is anyone who would entertain a motion for that, I'd like to hear it.
I entertain the motion to continue.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Steve Wong to continue this item, and and we have a second from
Fred Lopez.
Okay, second from Commissioner Fred Lopez. So we have a motion to keep the public comments item open, the public meeting, and we'll extend that to our next scheduled meeting, Cindy, which is on what date?
May 7th, and I'll be happy to take the roll call vote.
Okay. So at this point, we have a motion and a second. So Cindy, go ahead and take roll call.
Sure. Commissioner Harris,
Agree.
Commissioner Holt,
Aye.
Commissioner Hurst,
Aye.
Commissioner Lizarraga,
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Wong,
Aye.
and Commissioner Wells.
Aye. So the motion carries unanimously. This item will be carried over to the next public meeting of the Planning Commission. And Cindy, I would like to direct staff to work on, obviously, these items. And, we will work on continuing the communication for both the public and outreach, and ask, whatever these other questions are, and we'll come back at that ensuing meeting. Okay, it is now 8:46, and what I'd like to do is allow everybody to take a 5-minute break, and we will then come back and hear our next item. So let's come back. It's 8:47. Let's come back at 8:53. Good. I'll see you guys in 5 minutes.
I would give you a bad time and say, you got to buy tacos afterwards, but it's too late.
Well, we'll knock down this other piece and be done. That was, hopefully this, our second item will be a little bit less active, so.
I'll start with a motion to approve right away. That'll be my first comment on that.
Okay, so it's.
By the way, I'll second that, Marco.
So we're at 8:53. Who do we have? We've got Fred, we got Chris, we got Marco, we got Steve. We don't. There's Megan. Hi, Megan. Mr. Wong, Valerie, perfect. I guess is Megan is Cindy going to be on this one with us as well?
I'm here.
She's in.
There we go. Okay. So we are now back in session. And so I'm assuming Megan is leading off this presentation for us. Megan? And this is item 3, item H3, which, let me state that for the record, is the Spring Lake Pioneer Village large lot tentative parcel map. Megan, go ahead. Megan, you with us?
I just don't know how to unmute myself.
There you go.
Okay, thank you. So good evening again. We're going to completely change directions and on to the next item. Planning Commission is asked to consider the following request this evening by Pioneer Woodland LLC for a proposed large lot tentative parcel map 5198 with the associated CEQA clearance. As you can see on the Spring Lake area map, the Pioneer Village development site is located at the northwest corner of Farmers Central Road and Pioneer Avenue within the Spring Lake specific plan area, just west of the Pioneer High School. The site is 55.45 acres in size, and the site previously had a small lot subdivision map, 5162, previously approved by this body, and serves as the underlying map. So here you can see that previously approved underlying map consisting of 231 single-family home sites with a multifamily component. And the previous map was designed with 3 phases, with phase 1 being R5 homes, phase 2 R8, and phase 3 being the multifamily. Moving on to the large lot map now. The proposed project consists of only a tentative parcel map for the purpose specifically of resale. And you can see it follows the same patterns as the phasing of the previous map. So the 3 large lots will consist of 27.22 acres, 4.11 acres, and 19.14 acres. And the application proposes to subdivide into 3 large lots in alignment, as I said previously, with the previous phasing on map 5162, to be sold to individual home builder companies. No physical changes to the property are proposed with this application, and in addition, no modifications to the previous development rights are being requested under to the previous development agreement that is associated with the small lot map that was previously approved. This is a list of that provides previously required technical reports that were assessed with the small lot parcel map that was previously approved that is the underlying map. This just shows that previous environmental analysis was done on this site. And we also relied on previous extensive environmental review of the underlying lot or underlying map that looked at Pioneer Village project area, and the previous tentative parcel map also tiered off of the turn of the century final EIR certified by the City Council on August 15th, 2000. With that, staff recommends that PC approve Resolution 2008, approving the proposed Pioneer Village tentative large lot subdivision map 5198 for the Spring Lake Pioneer Village and associated CEQA clearance.
Thank you, Megan. Okay, so first I'll invite our commissioners, and again, we'll go down the list for any questions for staff. So first, Commissioner Harris.
No question.
Thank you, Steve. Commissioner Holt.
None, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner Hurst.
None.
Thank you, Valerie. Commissioner Lizarraga.
No questions.
Okay. Thank you, Marco. Commissioner Lopez.
No questions.
Thank you, Steve, Fred. Commissioner Wong.
No questions.
Okay, thank you, Steve. And I have no questions. Okay, at this time, I will open this to a public hearing and ask staff if we have any comments. And could everybody mute their, at this time, mute their microphones? Thank you. So at this time, ask the staff if we've received any voicemail, email, or do we have any live call-ins on this item?
This is Jay. We have 0 call-ins and we have 0 voicemails.
Thank you, Jay. And no voicemail, Cindy, or no emails?
We do not have any emails.
Okay. Hearing that we have none of those, I will now close the public hearing and bring this back to commission staff. And since we had no question, we'll go through for the formality of the record. Again, any questions or at this point comments? Commissioner Harris?
None.
Commissioner Holt?
None, sir.
Commissioner Hurst?
Nope, I don't have any.
Good, thank you. Commissioner Lizarraga?
No questions.
Thank you, Marco. Commissioner Lopez?
No questions.
Commissioner Wong?
No questions, sir.
Okay, thank you, Steve. So at this time, I'd ask for a motion. Marco, could you make a motion if you so feel to for this item?
I've been ready for a while to do that.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion that Planning Commission adopts Resolution 20-08 for the Spring Lake Pioneer Village large lot tentative parcel map and associated CEQA clearance.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Lizarraga. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second.
Commissioner Harris.
Okay, Steve Harris is seconded. We have a motion to approve, and we have a second. I now have a roll call. Cindy, could you make the roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Harris.
Aye.
Commissioner Holt.
Aye.
Commissioner Hurst.
Aye.
Commissioner Lizarraga.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
And Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
And I don't know that I heard from Commissioner Wong.
Aye, I did.
Okay. And Commissioner Wells.
Aye. So the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And then, do we have any other business items, Cindy?
We do not.
Okay. Any other comments by staff or commissioners? Okay, it seems like none. Can I get a motion? Would somebody entertain a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion by Marco and a second by Commissioner Lopez All in favor? I guess Cindy, I'm sorry, I guess we have to go through and do that do we have to do that by, no? Okay, good. So we have a motion and a second. I call the meeting adjourned. Everybody, thank you so much for your patience and great job.
Congratulations.
You guys.
Congratulations, Chairman.
Oh,
Good
you
job.
all-
Good job, ID.
Take care.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Bye.